Mom sent from Beaufort.
Yeah.
She always makes our garam masala.
Sisters Shenaaz and Sydda Essop are cooking their grandmother's lamb curry. She arrived in South Africa from India in 1902, and with her came a rich culinary heritage, which she passed on to her daughters. Together they beat back time as the familiar spicy smells of their family recipe for lamb curry take them back into the past.
We would have lamb curry probably twice a week. Your dals, your curry khichdi, it's all traditional Indian foods, and that's all we had and we knew of. So when we cook, when I make lamb curry, when I make curry khichdi, dal goes, it all takes me back to childhood and how we grew up and the foods we ate.
Shenaaz and Sydda grew up in Beaufort West in the Karoo and were exposed not just to their family's Indian cooking, but other traditions in the area too.
There was this whole thing about, this myth about Karoo cuisine, is European. It stems from European cooking, and that was a big myth. Because most Afrikaner women and English women couldn't cook. They had cooks. I'm talking about the 1800s, the 1700s, right? And these women, with their skills, taught the women to cook. But besides that, the recipes that came from Europe and Britain were mixed with indigenous recipes. So that I found amazing, that it was an interdependent relationship. It didn't only stem from one culture, but it was all the cultures that contributed to this amazing cuisine, and that I felt, should be put, in a book form.
And so Sydda spent several years interviewing the people of Karoo about their culinary traditions and heritage. And in 2012, her book Karoo Kitchen was published.
So I travelled, I had a bakkie, and I travelled alone for 5 years through the whole of Karoo, just interviewing all the indigenous cooks and the farmers' wives who now knew how to cook, right? The younger generations. So that is how it all started. And I told, I wanted to know about their stories, how they grew up, the problems they had, the challenges they faced during apartheid times, and also the Afrikaner and English women, their side of the story. So Karoo Kitchen, is about that.
She believes the kitchen is the heart of the home in every family.
Look, I think, my kids, I think all kids, basically, and especially in Indian families, they grow up in the kitchen because they all love good food. So automatically, when they get married, the first thing your mom would do is give you a gift, Indian delights, right? Which is, to me, where Indian food is concerned, an amazing book. So I did exactly the same thing. When they got married, my 3 daughters, I gave them Indian delights as a gift. I think it's amazing. It kind of binds you, to your roots.
We should actually start cooking more recipes from it. That's good.
Sydda's daughter, Amrain, believes that in South Africa, food can be used to bridge cultural divides.
Yes, I do think so. I think it's an amazing access point into the other person's identity. So for instance, if you have a group of friends and you're bringing them together and they're all from a multicultural background, and you've got someone cooking their traditional dish, it's kind of an inroad into understanding that person on an intimate level, because food is intimacy, food is love, food is nourishment, food is nurturing, you know what I mean? And we show each other love, we show each other understanding when we begin to not only accept each other's cuisines, but we begin to integrate it and reinterpret it and celebrate it in our own homes. So we just have to look at like Heritage Day here in South Africa, and we just have to look at the simple thing that Heritage Day has been taken over by the bride. I mean, a lot of people were like, oh, but heritage is more than that, but it's not. It's exactly that. It's us finding this common way forward with all our different nuanced ways of interpreting that.
Amrain will pass her family's timeless traditions down to her own daughter, Sophia. She knows there will be changes to the recipes through the generations, but she believes the essence will remain.
I want to share the joy of her roasting her own spices with, you know, the way I've been taught how to roast my own spices. My mother taught me how to, on a cast iron skillet, roast my cumin until it's just that perfect scent before it turns, and then to grind it down. And Sophia already does that with me in the kitchen. So she's 14. When I'm cooking a curry, now and again, and I'm running out of time, I've got my little pestle and mortar and I'm like chucking that in, and so she's learning on the go. I'd love for my daughter to carry on the tradition of the essence of the source of my family, if you know what I mean. The essence of who we are, and yeah, and also put our own spin on it.